morning everyone. This is Vijayasri, working as an assistant professor, Department of CSIT, MLR Institute of Technology. In this session, we will discuss about functions in C. Overview of the session: what is a function? What is the need of a function? Types of functions. So, why we need a function? Let us suppose consider a program to perform addition of two numbers. So, the program is int main. To perform addition of two numbers, we need in variables a comma b. Let us suppose those are data type of integer. Then the result of those is stored in the variable sum. Then printf, enter a comma b values. Whatever the values the user provided, we have to read those using a predefined function called scanf. Those are integer type, so the format specifier is %d, comma address of a, comma address of b. So to perform addition of those two numbers, sum is equal to a plus b, and the result, to print the result, we have to use the function printf. The result is also integer type, so %d, comma sum. So this is the program to perform addition of two numbers. So what happens when we declare the variables? What happens in the memory? So consider this is the memory layout. When we declared the variables a, b and sum of type integer, some memory space is reserved for the variable a, b and for sum. Enter AB values. Let us suppose here the user provided AB values are 5 and 5. So these inputs are read by the predefined function called scanf. So the values are 5 and 5. So sum is equal to a plus b, where a value is 5 and b value is 5. So sum is 10. Sum is 10. So that we are printing the result using this printf function. So now, if I want to perform addition of two numbers for 2 times, that means I want to print addition of two numbers 2 times. Then how many times we have to write this code? 2 times in my program. Let us suppose I want to perform the same addition of two numbers of about 5 times. 5 times, or let us consider 10 times. Then how many times we have to write the same lines of code? About 5 times or 10 times. Now, I don't want to write the code. I don't want to rewrite the code. Is there any such thing like I will write the code only 1 time, but I have to use the same lines of code for 5 times? This can be achieved, means we will write the code only 1 time, but we can perform addition of two numbers about 5 times. This can be achieved using a concept called functions. So how we'll write a function? So always we know that program execution starts from main function, but I will replace this main function with user defined function, with my function. Instead of writing a main, we will write a function called, let us suppose, add. So this is the user defined function in which I specified what that add function has to perform. But we know that always the program execution starts from main. So here I have a main, and a main program, I'm just calling that function with its name. End of main. So we know that program execution, the first control goes to the main function, starts from main function. In main, what we have? Add, where it is a function call calling function. I called that function. Now the control goes to the function where it is called, where it is defined. It fetches to the function where it is defined. Where it is defined, actually it is defined here. So the control goes to the function where I have defined here, in which I have told to the function to perform this particular task, that is addition of two numbers. In this way, we can write our own function. So, types of functions. Types of functions, advantages of functions. So, let's see the definition of a function. So, function is a subpart of a program used to perform a specific task and it is executed individually. So, this is a subpart of a program in which it specified what specific task and it is executed individually. Advantages of functions. Using a function, we can implement modular programming. So, the program becomes more readable and understandable. Program implementation is also easy, and as we discussed, we'll write the code only one time, but we can use the same code many times. And large program can be divided into small modules. Not only this, using functions, debugging of the program is also easy. Types of functions. Types of functions are of two: system-defined functions and user-defined functions. System-defined functions are also known as library functions, means the definition of the function is already defined in the libraries, or standard function or predefined functions. Like if I want to perform in the above example, we are using printf and scanf. Printf and scanf is a predefined functions which are available in the header file stdio.h. Then math.h, let us suppose I want to perform square root or a power. These are the two functions which are described, which are already defined in math.h, like cos, tan and all. Then string.h, let us suppose I want to find length of a string. Suppose the string is mlrit. What is the length of the string? Or else there is a string called, let us consider a string called ECE and CSE. If I want to concatenate these two strings, then I have to use a string handling function called strcat. Or if I want to calculate length of a string, mlrit, then for this we have to use a string handling function called strlen. These functions, these string handling functions are already predefined in the header file string.h. Just simply we will include that libraries and we will use those functions. These are system defined functions or predefined functions. Then user defined function. In C programming language, users can create their own functions. Like in earlier we discussed about addition of two numbers using a function called add. This is a user defined function. So we can create our own functions are called user defined functions. The functions that are created by the users. User defined functions are as follows. When we are writing our own function, we must go follow the three cases. Those are function declaration, function definition and function call. The function whose definition is defined by the user is called user defined function. In the earlier program, here I consider add is a user defined function in which I declared two variables and I asked to perform sum is equal to a plus b, which is defined by me, that is the user. So this becomes a user defined function. When we are writing our own functions, make sure that we are following the three cases. Those are function declaration, function definition and function call. Then what is the syntax of function declaration? Function declaration tells the compiler about the function name, the data type of the return value and parameters. The function declaration is also known as a function prototype. Function declaration is also called as a function prototype. The function declaration is performed before the main function or inside the main function or any other functions. When you are defining your own function, you can write before the main function, that means above the main function. When we define above the main function or declare above the main function, then this becomes a global scope. That means that declaration or that particular function can be defined by main function or any other functions also, or we can write inside the main function, but generally will follow to write above declaration above the main. So what is the syntax of a declaration? Return type, function name, parameter list. So in the earlier example, here I consider addition of two numbers in which the return type of that is also integer. So the return type of the function is integer. So int, function name is add. How many parameters I have passed? I have given two inputs. So the inputs are also of data type integer. Int, comma, int, and always the declaration must be terminated with a semicolon. So int is the return type of the function add. So the syntax is return type, add is the function name, function underscore name. Then here I have two inputs. So the arguments or the parameters are of 2. Data type is must. The arguments or the inputs data type is of integer. So int, comma, int. So this we can write as data type, comma, data type, so on. And declaration must be terminated with a semicolon. Then definition. So function definition provides the actual code of that function. So what that function has to perform, that we will define in the section function definition. Function definition is also known as body of the function. What is the syntax of function definition? Return type, function name, parameter list. So the return type, here the function is add, the return type of the function is int, then the parameters. How many parameters we have passed? The parameters are of 2 because the inputs are 2. So int, comma, int, and then here we'll write what that particular add this function has to perform. We will define the code. This is the function definition. So always the function definition should match with the declaration. So the declaration and the definition must be same. So here the return type is same, function name is same. Here I have passed 2 arguments, here also I have 2 arguments, but make sure that always the declaration ends with a semicolon, but not the definition. Then function call. Function call tells the compiler when to execute the function definition. Let us suppose, consider the same example, addition of 2 numbers, int, add, then a comma b comma sum. So here asking that enter 2 values, printf enter a comma b values. Then whatever the values we have provided, that will be read by the predefined function called scanf. Here I have provided 2 values. So %t, comma, address of A, comma, address of B. Now to perform sum is equal to A plus B. To print that, printf %t, comma, sum. Here end of the function definition, but always the program starts with the main function. So in main I am just calling that function with its function name. So the function call tells the compiler when to execute a function definition. Always the control goes to the main section. Then in a main, in the sequence we have a function call. Function call add, and if you have any parameters we'll pass here. So the control goes to the function definition. When function call is executed, the execution control jumps to the function definition. So here the function call occurred, immediately the control goes to the function definition and it executes this particular task. Let us suppose after this I have some other code like printf mlrit. Again, I have a function call called add. So what happens when we call this function for the first time? So the control goes to function definition, it executes this particular task and return back where it is called. So it goes to the main function because in main function we call that. In a sequence what we have printf mlrit. So again it prints mlrit, then we have again a function call. So when this particular function call occurs, again the compiler, the control or the execution control just jumps to the function definition and executes this particular task, gets executed and returns to the same function call once the execution completed. Once we executed this, when the control executed this, again it goes back to the function where it is called. The function call is performed inside the main function or any other functions or inside the function itself. So the function call performed inside the main functions. Here I used the function call inside the main. Then how to write or what is the syntax for the function call? Syntax for function call is just a function name and a parameters. Here the function name is add. And if you have any parameters you can pass here. I did not pass any. Okay. Or we can take here a comma b. So what is the function call syntax? Function name and parameters. So whenever we are writing a function, we have make sure that we have a function declaration, function call and function definition. So function declaration, what is the syntax for function declaration? Generally the function declaration will write above the main or before the main. So function declaration syntax is return type, function name, data type. These arguments depends on the inputs, how so on. Like this you can write how many arguments you want. So this is a function declaration. Function declaration is always terminated with a semicolon. So here we have a function declaration. The return type of this function is int. Function name is addition. And here to perform addition of two numbers, the inputs are of 2. So here the arguments are 2, int comma int. Then function call, this is function declaration. Generally will declare function before the main. Then function call is done inside main or inside any other function, inside main function. So what is the syntax for function call? Just simply the function name, and if you have any arguments, we'll pass those arguments here with the variable names, only the variable names, not the data type. Variable 1, variable 2, so on. And this is also terminated with a semicolon. So then the control goes to main section. In main we have int number 1, number 2 and result. Enter any two numbers. Let us suppose those two numbers are 5 and 5. So this is number 1 and here we have number 2. These two are the inputs provided by the user, and using the scanf function, we are reading those values. Those are number 1 and number 2. So here we have addition number 1 comma number 2, which is a function call. So as we discussed, a function call syntax is function name, just a function name and the variable names. So here the function name is addition. So here I have addition, number 1, number 2. Those are the variable names. These two are the variables which I have stored, which I have assigned to the variable result. When this function call occurs, the execution control goes to the function definition. So what is the syntax for function definition? Function definition syntax is, how to write a function definition? To write a function definition, return type, function name, data type, variable 1, let us suppose variable name is variable 1, data type, variable 2, so on. So this must not end with a semicolon, and we have a scope. Here we'll write what, here we'll define what the function has to perform. So when the function call occurs, the control goes to function definition. So what is the syntax for function definition? Return type, function name, data type, variable name. So here the return type of the function is integer, int. Then the function name is addition. The data type, the two variable data types here we declared, those are integer types. So int, here the variable name is a and int variable name is b. To perform addition of two numbers, we need only two arguments. So int a comma int b. Then, so the control stores number 1 in the variable a and number 2 value in the variable b. So what are the number 1 and number 2 values? Number 1 value is 5, number 2 value is 5. So obviously the a value is 5 and b value is 5. So then the control goes to definition of the function. And a definition we have return a plus b, where a value is 5 and b value is 5. So 5 plus 5, it has to return this value. So 5 plus 5 is 10, return. Where to return? Once the execution is controlled, the execution is completed, the control goes back to the function where it is called, where we call the function in the main section. So the control return back to the function where it is called. So the value of this addition number 1 comma number 2 is 10. That 10 is stored in the variable result. So printf sum is equal to, result is also data type integer. Here we declared sum is equal to %d comma result. So that is going to be printed on the console window. Sum is equal to 10. So in this session we discussed about a function, why we need a function, how to write a function. When we are writing a function, there must be three cases: function declaration, function call, function definition. And one more thing here, function definition and function declaration must be the same. In the next session, we will see the categories of the functions. Thank you.